All right.
Do I have to mute the channel? I have to mute it from the
Yeah.
YouTube.
Okay, folks.
So what?
We're just working out some technical stuff. If you want to see the chat, Dave, you can just watch it. Yeah, just watch it normally.
I got it. I'm muted.
Okay, cool, cool. All right. Hey, everybody. Just figure out some technical stuff.
Yeah.
Welcome to the discussion here with we've got as a guest today we've got Dave from Dave's Guitar Channel, and we basically started the show because that always happens once we start talking.
Right.
You know, it's like kind of flows real easily.
Yeah.
I want to welcome everybody that's popped in. Let me just go through here real quick and see who we got in the house. As soon as I get my technical shit worked out. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Okay, we got Dave R's Guitars. Welcome, Dave R. Dave R. Did a live stream yesterday. Dave, it went for like 4 hours or something. I left, came back, he was still on, and we were laughing our asses off.
Oh, really?
That was funny as hell, man. Dry Heat 480 is here. Todd Flowers is here. James Severin, welcome. All right, let me just go down. Todd Flowers, how are you?
Hey, Todd. What's happening, Todd?
Yeah, Bobby Lopez is here. Welcome. Brian Cote. Phil Mosley Music. Phil Mosley, I got to do your backing track, buddy. I almost did it today, but I promise you I will do one of your backing track things as soon as I get a chance. Who else we got? Joe Hervey is in here. Hey, Joe Hervey, welcome.
Han Solo.
On 36 Solo. Okay, you're ahead of me on the list. Music Therapy Laz. Ladybug is here. Hey, Ladybug. Rock and Roll Guitar Lounge, Aaron Songs. Welcome, everybody. There's On 36 Solo. How are you? Will Varela. How's it going? And I think I got everyone. Yes. Let's see how many people we got at this. Oh, we got 26 people. So I think I hit everybody at this point. Okay, cool, cool. So, Dave, what's been going on? You've been doing some gigging lately, or?
Oh yeah, always. I had a gig yesterday. We did
Memorial Day thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I think you see the thing I posted. There was like we were right into this huge windmill. You know the.
Yeah, I saw the windmill. Yeah.
So I was like, should I grab my fan out of my car or just have them fire this thing up?
Did it keep you cool?
It actually wasn't too bad. It was pretty good.
Did you have a nice day? You were out. That was an outdoor gig, was it?
Yeah, it was tiring, but it was fine. It was outdoors. We were half in the sun sometimes, depending on where the clouds were.
Right.
But it was great. It was a great day. Great, very successful. It's good. Then I got a gig coming up this Thursday and Friday. Another 2 gigs. Saturdays got canceled because of the Bruins, so I have usually I'll do about 3 gigs a weekend, but this one coming up because of the Bruins, just Thursday
3.
and Friday.
So what's like you do like a regular Thursday, don't you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that actually is coming to an end soon, so we're going to try to relocate to a different bar because this bar's got to go through some remodeling and they're closing down for a few months.
Oh, okay.
And so we got to.
So I'm just trying to get so everybody knows what's going on. So the Thursday thing, that's your AM station. That's your acoustic thing, right?
Right. Yeah.
Okay. And then what's the other? Is it Friday and Saturday? The other 2?
Friday and Saturday, we usually do either AM, which is the acoustic duo. We have FM, which is a full 5-piece band, doing like 70s and 80s one-hit wonders and rare songs.
Right.
And then I have the funk station with Emily, where she sings, and we do like R&B, disco, acid jazz, real pop, I would say not the most popular stuff, but stuff where you're like, oh, I love that song. And then some stuff out of England from the 90s that was acid jazz, the Brand New Heavies and Ross Stylus, that people may not know, but they get up and dance when they hear it. So
how often is Funk Station jamming?
Well, Funk Station's the newest of the 3, but it's starting to get bars calling me and me not having to call them now, so it'll get busy real soon.
Right. So do you do all the bookings yourself, or do you?
I do it.
You do it all. You don't do the agent thing?
No.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, here it's like it's like a bunch of little pisha places if you can let me throw some Yiddish around.
Yeah.
It's not like in Los Angeles, there's a lot more going on. First of all, it's more original work. There's certain bars you can play cover stuff. And, you have to get a little bit more involved in promotion. So in LA, I always had a manager that handled everything.
Right.
Here to do it, I just find it unnecessary. It's like, it's not that big of a deal.
You got a little circuit going there at this point, I imagine, right?
Yeah, plus I teach a lot. Like I taught today, and then you know, I teach all during the week, and I sometimes do Skype lessons as well with a couple of old students of mine in LA.
Mm-hmm.
So I keep busy, you know, there's always something going on,
That's
you
cool.
know.
That's cool.
Eventually I plan on getting back there and plugging back in. So it just depends on what I'm doing. And you know, the idea when I started my channel was basically twofold. I could give my opinions and talk about the business because I used to do some consulting, and that would kind of keep me plugged into the people in the business that I worked with, that
Right,
they
right.
could watch and have a couple of laughs with me. Because and to tell you the truth, when I first started the channel, I would get calls from them and they would be like, "Yeah, you're holding way back." And I'm like, "What?" They're like, "You're being too nice." And I'm like, "You think so?" They're like, because they told me this years ago. They were like, when we would go to lunch and we'd start talking about Fender, and I had a lunch meeting with a bunch of guys from Fender and KMC one time because I was a clinician for Takamine, and I was just like explaining to them the biggest mistake of what they were doing with Charvel, making those like Les Paul guitars, and how nobody would reorder them, and they're all going to lose their jobs. And these guys were like mortified, and it ended up happening. So. But one of the guys is like, dude, you got to just get out. So that's what I started. It was that. And the second thing was in FM station, I have to learn all these guitar solos. And then sometimes we'll do like, you know, we probably have like 60, 70 songs to choose from, and we're doing 30 a night.
Right, right.
So it's like sometimes if we don't do a song for a while, I'm like, how the hell did I play that solo? I have no idea. So then I can just watch myself play it, and I'll be like, oh yeah, I remember now.
So using it as a library, solo library.
Completely. It's for my Alzheimer's.
Yeah, you and me both, man. Okay, we got a few more people that popped in here. Let me just say hello, Ron Gillespie. How are you? Hey, there's my brother from another mother, Jason Wade, is in here. How are you? Brian Cote, I am looking for an SG with the same neck profile as my R9. Guitar Hack, does your guest have any suggestions? There you go.
So your R9, a 59 neck. I mean, I would try a 61 SG. The 61 is probably the 59 neck. Well, it's a little thinner, but on an SG, I think they're thicker than a 60 Les Paul. I would suggest, I mean, it's just hope they, you know, didn't sand one down so much and you can find a fuller one. Otherwise, I mean, the only other thing to do is to go to a smaller builder and have them make you one for you.
Yeah, yeah. Or
But
just
the 59 neck is, you know, it's like it's the tapered neck, right? That's the one that's fat by the 12th fret, but thin by the by the nut.
the 59.
They haven't fully shaved it down to the 1960, which is the 60s.
No, it is fatter. It's a fatter neck.
Right. It's between the 50
8 and the 60. It's
that's right. Yeah,
now I get where you're going. It's literally right down the middle.
But it's thinner, but they didn't shave so much down by the thicker by the 12th fret to the body. I think the 59 is trimmed a little bit more towards the nut. At least that was my understanding of them when we used to sell them. That it has a taper to them.
We got EVH and Gear TV Network. Hey, buddy. Hey, Eric. How are you?
Hey, guys.
Gary,
how's it going, guys?
Gussie Wells.
Gussie.
Yeah, I got Sean Kennedy is in here. Hey, Sean, how are you? Okay, just Zim's Guitar. Hey, man. Just jumped on me. That's the hard thing with the chat. Bamozzi is here. Okay, Quentin James is in here. So, Dave, I do this with all my guests. I may have done it with you the last time. I don't remember.
Yeah, I have a memory.
Okay.
You're going to shout Quentin, except you just say Quent. You don't say Quentin.
Okay, what I say Quentin, you say ton.
No, you don't.
You want to.
All right, here we go. You always say you say it fast, but then I watch it. I'm like, yeah, he's only saying Quent.
Okay, we got controversy here. Okay, on the count of 3, ready?
There we go.
1, 2, 3.
Quentin.
There you go. All right. Thank you. Bamozzi, I mentioned Bamozzi. Ivan Carter is here. Welcome. Okay. Queen Bee is here. That's my wife. How are you? Dwight Bailey is here. Welcome.
Oh, I saw
Martha.
your video with your wife where you guys were talking about music and whatnot.
Yeah.
And she is also of
Sean
the
Kennedy.
from
Sorry,
the
yeah.
islands.
Yeah. So we're both we both come from where Nuno Betancourt comes from. But
Right.
unfortunately, I didn't drink the same water, so I don't have the same abilities. But yeah, he's Azorian as well. Yeah.
Alrighty.
Yeah. And there's a shitload of them actually where you live. That whole Fall
Well,
River.
Joe Perry isn't Joe Perry.
Joe Perry's he's from Madeira.
Steve Perry
as well. Yeah. They're all from we're all from that same part of the world. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Joe, what were we talking about? Oh, the necks. You know what surprised the hell out of me? I've been playing I generally don't like the 50s necks, right? I'm usually every guitar, well, all my Gibsons are all like sort of in that realm of 60s necks or a flavor of 60s neck. And I've been playing a lot of the new rollout of the new standards. Because now they come out the standards, they come out either as a 60s Les Paul or they call them a 50s Les Paul. And the differences are basically the neck profiles and the pickups, really, right?
On the which ones? I don't think the 50s has the thicker neck in the USA model stuff. Like it has a slim taper. It actually has a 60s neck.
Okay, I'm talking about the new rollout, the new standard.
That's what I'm talking about.
No, there's a difference. The 50s, the new 50s Gibson necks are bigger necks than the 60s Les Paul standard. The 60s have the 60s necks.
They didn't advertise it that way. When Ignazi did the video, he said slim taper neck. No. It had the Kluson tuners instead of the Grovers on the 50s.
Yeah.
And there was
there
was another difference. But I'd rather have a bigger neck.
Well, in a nutshell, the 50s have the Klusons, right? Because it's more vintage looking. It has the like the deeper C, which is more the 50s neck. It has but for me, the best part about it is the pickups that they put in there are Burstbucker 1s and 2s. Right, which I really like those pickups a lot. Super low output, Alnico 2 magnets. That's where I live, right?
Yep, they're great pickups.
Yeah, they're awesome. The 60s has the neck that I'm used to, which is basically the neck that I have on all my Gibsons, pretty much. With Grovers, not locking Grovers, just regular Grovers, and then for pickups they've got the 61s, which they're great as well, but it's funny when I played, because I've played and I did reviews on both of them. When I played the 60s Les Paul, it sounded like all the Les Pauls that I own, right? Because it's the 61s are real similar to the Burstbucker Pros. Like they're in that same,
What is the difference between the 61s and the 57 Classics?
That's a really good question. As far as I know, the 61, they're both Alnico 5s, as far as I know. If DiMarzio...
No. 57 Classics are Alnico 2.
They're Alnico 2? Then that's the difference, because the 61s, I believe, are Alnico 5s.
Gotcha. Okay. So, because the 57 Classics are basically to the patent. They're Seth Lover's pickups to the patent of what they were in 57, which... they stopped putting on guitars. They don't know really. They think between 61 and 62, they ran out of PAFs. They ran out of the ones that they were using, which were that they stopped winding in 59, I believe. That's how much ahead of the scale they were. And then in 61, 62, they started putting the patented pickups on, which are the ones that they had the digital stops on the winders, and the magnets were cut properly.
So everything was standardized, basically.
Right.
So I'm just looking at the chat. Dave Ars Guitars, yes, classic 61s are A5, 57 classics are A2. Which would explain why I like the 57s.
Right.
And the
57 is what the original is, what you would find generally on like if you bought a 63 SG, 64 SG.
Yeah, my SG, it's the I have the 2013 SG that's got 57s on it.
Is it a 61?
You know, it's funny because they put out a reissue, and it might have been a 61 reissue the year before. And Gibson then released the 2013 SG, which was basically the same as the reissue.
Oh, I see. But it's the half pick guard.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's the same guitar.
You know, in the 90s, they came out with a 62 reissue.
Mm-hmm.
And then they came out with a 61 reissue. And I was trying to think, what would be the only difference? And the only difference I could come up with would be that the 62 had the wire retainer spring in the ABR1. And the 61 won't have that wire retainer. And then I thought, I have way too much time on my hands.
Wow. And the only reason I know that, what I was just saying to you, was my brother bought the reissue the year before. And then I found the 2013 SG, and I asked him to come along and check it out because 2 sets of eyes is always better, you know. And he's looking at it and he's like, you know, this is exactly the same guitar that I have. And I paid more for it because it was a freaking reissue, and they wouldn't release the same guitar. You know, you gotta
60.
Yeah, you got to be careful, man.
That's a good looking guitar. Well, I mean, you have to understand the cost of Gibsons are basically manufactured by perception. It doesn't cost any more to make a 61 than to make a standard. But because I'm trying to give this one a little bit of a lure, I'm going to charge them more. Just like, think about this. So you have an R9, an R8, and an RO, right? The 60, the 59, the 58. So tell me, manufacturing-wise, what would be the cost difference?
I mean, you got to look at what the differences are in those guitars. And off the top of my head, it's going to be like,
there's one difference.
It's neck
profile.
Well,
there's what's that? The neck profile. That's it. Well, so on the 60s, they are commie historians. They like to do things to say, well, we can't make it exactly like the 59, so we have to give it a lure. So they put the reflector knobs on the 1960 Les Paul. The 1960 Les Paul never came with reflector knobs. It came with the exact same knobs that's on the 59. You can go look up any vintage 1960 real Les Paul. You will not see reflector knobs on it.
That is interesting.
So, but because they're trying to give a perceived value of why do you want the 59?
Right.
But when the 59, the 58, and the 60 were all out, I would say when I was running my store, and the prices were way down, but you could get a 58 and a 60 for a little under $4,000. Wow. And the 59 was like $7,000. I would laugh. I'm always like, because they stamped the 9 in the serial number. Now, the painting originally was done different, and I don't think they're painting them any different on the reissues, but the original paint was different, whereas that's why they have a problem with the red fading on the 58s and 59s. But if you look at a real 1960, the red is still there.
Still there.
It's because the order that they painted it in and what the last color to go on was. I think on the 58 and the 59, red was the last color, and that's the first to come off. That's why if you look at Jimmy Page's Les Paul in 69 or 70, and then you look at it now, it's like, wow. Yeah. Like the red's almost gone.
It's completely faded. And that's the look. And that, to me, and I could be wrong, but that's sort of the lemon burst now, isn't it?
That's exactly. Well, see, the whole thing with all these bursts, if it's not tobacco or cherry burst, if that's not one of those two colors,
right,
it's a manufactured color to look at what those two colors do when they age.
Yeah.
Now, there was a thing where Gibson, by mistake, somebody was painting tobacco bursts, and somehow, I don't know if there was a little red that got into it or that the red came out, but somehow that's how bourbon burst was created, but there was no such color.
Right.
It's a it's just tobacco burst. That's where something lifted and brings out the red.
Bourbon,
and then
iced tea
burst, lemon burst, honey burst, all these.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, and then with the newer colors now, blueberry burst, you know.
Well, those are just bursts to
just different
to try to add colors to the skew. But the original colors, the lemon burst, honey burst, those are all what happened to the original burst over time. And a lot of it you'll see in the 59 and 58, not so much in the 1960s.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, this less than, sorry.
No, I was going to say the story that I heard about the fading of the color is with the 58s and the 59s is like at music stores, they would put them in the window of the store.
No, it's not true.
And no, that's what I heard. I read
it'll fade stuff when you put it in the window because that's what sun does.
Yeah, and the sun would wipe out the red, like
right. But the 58 in a case and a 60 in a case, the 58 red will disappear and the 60s won't. It's because nitrocellulose paint technically never dries. It's always lifting. And for some reason, I think it's on that guitar that the red went on first. I mean, red went on last. And the yellow went down first. And I think on the 60, the yellow goes down last, or they top coat it, whatever it is. It's not the same. So it won't fade the same. But you could put any guitar in a store. The sun gets to it. Good luck in keeping the original color.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, a few more people popped in here. Just want to.
That's all right.
James Smith is here. Hey, James. How are you? Bobby Lopez. Yes, I'm Missourian, Bobby. Davar's guitar. Okay, sorry, saw that already. Pooh Ninja's in here. Hey, Pooh, how are you? Just want to make sure I'm catching everyone. Anyone that I may have missed. Just going down. Okay, Davar's guitars. Gibson changed the dyes they used in the lacquer in 1960.
Thank you.
The dyes they were using in the 50s was way more susceptible to fading. There you go. Jesco Plumbing is here. Welcome. Krellbar is here. Welcome. And
hey, Krellbar. Hey, you know, so they always are. Back in those days, they were always adjusting the paint, and a lot of times the adjustment was the plasticides. When the guitars would go out and they would ship them to California, and they're being made in the cold in Michigan, they would get checking almost right away.
Right.
So they would have to add more plasticides to the paint to make sure, you know, but I mean, Gibsons are fun guitars. They're fun to play. I don't care for them much. I used to have a couple of 58 historics. I liked them. I never played them. I like Strats because if I don't like the neck, I can swap it.
Yeah.
If I don't, you know, and yeah. I've been playing V-necks mainly on everything, and I dig it.
Well, like what started all this was I was saying that, you know, I've been playing the newer ones, and like me being so used to the 60s necks, I'm really surprised at the 50s, you know, the new, which is probably, I guess, like more like a 59 style that are putting on the newer ones. And I can't believe how I'm able to play these comfortably. Like it's freaking me right out to the point where I'm thinking that maybe I'm better off if, and that's a big if I were to get another Les Paul, I'd probably go with the 50s, you know?
Yeah, why not?
The big appeal for me, Dave, though, it's those pickups, the BB1, BB2s, because when I played the 60s one, I'm hearing the same guitar. I'm hearing my Les Pauls that I have because they're Firstbucker Pros and 61s are pretty similar, but the BB1, BB2s, man, there's a whole other,
you know, they
sense of frequencies and warmth and sort of, and that middle position, it's just beautiful when the two pickups are blended.
It's a great,
gorgeous.
It's a great pickup. So I don't know if we'll go into that in a second about why I like those pickups so much, and it really ties into why I like the DiMarzio Fred. But the best Les Paul I ever heard, sound-wise, just plugging into an amp, was the Jeff Beck Oxblood 54.
Right.
It was like a really dark oxblood. It came with humbuckers because, you know, Jeff Beck put humbuckers in his. And you could look it up on, see if you could find one used, anybody. It has the stop tail. That's it. It doesn't have the tunematic. It's just got the one stop tail piece. And it uses a burst bucker 2 in the neck and a 3 in the bridge.
Okay.
And holy hell, that guitar sounded incredible. So the thing with burst buckers is years ago, there was a group of guys out of Japan that were buying up a ton of Gibson PAF pickups. And I think they had like 20 of them, and they reverse engineered them. And
Right.
Gibson probably won't enjoy me telling this story, but they sold it back to Gibson.
Oh,
basically, how to make them.
How to make your own stuff.
A buddy of mine who also is a Canuck, lives in the Ontario area. Back in the day when he was working for Gibson, told me this. He's like, they're coming up with a pickup. They just bought this. These guys figured out what they did, and they sold it. And it's going to be called the burst bucker. And what it was the magnets were cut by hand. The coils were not wound evenly. So one side was hotter than the other.
Right.
Right. So what happens is, because you do that, you then, when you're canceling what's called the 60 cycle hum.
Right.
But there's other harmonic frequencies, because everything's not exactly the negative of it.
Yeah.
That you're canceling, you're not canceling other things. And that is what they think the magic of the PAF pickup is.
There's more frequencies present. And that's yeah. And it didn't come out. I wish I had something better to record. This is me on my phone in a store, and I did what basically that. I A-B'd the 60s to the 50s, and it wasn't coming out. You could hear a slight difference on with the phone. It's only
right.
But if you were in the room and you played like those 61s back to back with the BB1, you were hearing all this stuff.
Yeah.
It was, and the thing, it was the frequencies that were there were the good ones. Like it was that's when you're hearing all the, like, the nice creaminess, the warmness, like that, you know, that just big, fat, beautiful overtones. Like it sounded gorgeous.
Yeah. So once you understand how the pickups work and how the fact that your windings are inaccurate, and then that's causing a positive thing, well, then you have people that are going to go out and try to experiment. And one of that was DiMarzio. Other than the super distortion, and maybe the super distortion 2, I don't really know any pickups that are made by DiMarzio that have anything to do with Larry DiMarzio. The guy who designs all the pickups for DiMarzio is a guy named Steve Lukather. And Steve designed this pickup called the Fred. And the Fred is, well, it's the same mentality. Well, instead of using 42 gauge on both coils, what if I use even windings, but wind one side with 42 and the other with 43? And that's the premise of the Fred. So it's really about the hot output of a burst bucker 3. But there's something glassier about it when you split the coil. There's something about that pickup that I do like better than the Gibson pickups. But when people sit there and they start telling me about, like, they're going to go get a Lawler, they're going to get this, or some guy, oh, this guy does the best PAF. I'm like, it's going to be hard pressed for me to hear something better than the burst bucker 1, 2, and 3. And now for a while, I don't know if Gibson still does this, but for a while, when Gibson put the burst bucker 1, 2, or 3 on a guitar, it would always be potted. But if you bought the pickup separate, you would have to pot it yourself.
Right.
I don't know if they still do that or if they offer a potted version, but I always thought that was ridiculous. So if you're buying a burst bucker pickup and you want to put it in a Strat, make sure you take it to a guy that knows how to pot pickups.
Right.
But, you know, like we talked about Van Halen the other day on my on my thing. And Van Halen used a Gibson a Gibson PAF pickup, right? And he put it in a Strat, and he was playing Les Pauls on that first album. You can't hear the difference, what guitar's which. They both sound fantastic. And he was playing that Marshall. And then for years, Seymour Duncan tried designing a pickup for him, which he later walked away from, which was the Custom. I don't know if anyone knows that pickup, but that was originally Eddie's design with Seymour. And he's constantly changing pickups and trying to find a pickup to replace that sound. And I think, like a lot of people, he keeps going hotter and hotter. Like he keeps going, and then he has to keep remodding the amps. Like he had right, because he started with the if you came out and you said, well, the 5150 is the greatest amp. This is me in a nutshell. Here's version 2. Now we're on the 5150 version 3. You know what I mean? It's like, why do you keep changing it? Well, you're changing it. You've changed your pickups about that many times, and that's really the back and forth that you're going. It really affects. There's like a synergy between the guitar and the pickups,
and that's generally why I like the more passive pickup. I don't like hot pickups. I want to hear.
Well, they're all passive as well. I mean, an active pickup's using a voltage, right?
No, but what I'm saying is,
You like low output.
A low output, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Sure.
I want to hear a low output pickup. I don't want to hear a hot pickup. Right. I don't want to hear a hot magnet. I don't want everything to be an overreaction.
Sure. No, I'm with you.
I want to be able to hear I want clarity. I don't want, you know what I mean? Let the amp do its job. Let it pick up those frequencies. Let that signal go through. Let it push that speaker, not get bombarded every time. You know what I mean? Because then you lose clarity.
Yeah, I think, but sometimes I think people are confusing output with the compression of a pickup. You know what I mean? Because an output could be measured in millivolts. And a real hot pickup with millivolts will push an amp harder than, let's say, a lower one. But they don't have to be exactly related. You could have something, because then the magnet, there's 3 things we're dealing here. We're dealing with wire thickness, wire length, magnet power, and
we're going to turn it to a science class, you know that.
No, not really. But it is to the point of I just tell people there's something simple to know. If you look at the DC resistance of a pickup, you could at least see how it compresses and what's going on in it. You don't have to know how many millivolts it's blasting. You don't have to know the magnet sometimes. Well, the magnet's important too. But see, the Alnico 5 is going to have a nice brighter sound than, say, the Alnico 2. So some people might want, so somebody who likes the 61 as opposed to the 57 classics might be like, this is like vintage, but it sounds better in my rig because it's brighter. And if you're playing an old Marshall, sometimes that bright's pretty good, because a lot of those guys used to put bright treble boosters before the thing anyways. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like they're losing anything. But I think, the Burstbucker 1 is like a 7.5 resistance, I think, on average. And the Burstbucker 2 somewhere like around an 8.2 to 8.4.
Well,
somewhere.
Like basically, and I don't want to turn this into a science thing, but basically what you're talking about is the strength of the magnetic field that the pickup has around it, right? And the stronger the magnetic field, the more the string vibration is going to induce a voltage, and the more millivolt output you're going to get out of it. That's basically what it is. So,
right, but I'm talking more about like the more wide, like if you added more turns to
then you're building up the magnetic field.
You are building up the magnet, but you're also building up the resistance.
Oh yeah, well, okay, you're building up the impedance. Okay, I don't want.
Yes,
I'm gonna stop.
No, it's good, but you shouldn't stop there, because people don't have an understanding of pickups, and people would be so much better off to know, because you could see a correlation, just like you said. You see the correlation, and you're not gonna.
Because I'm thinking of it scientifically, right? Because it's physics. This is physics, right?
Yeah.
That's all it is, right? It's physics. You got a string that's disturbing a magnetic field, that's inducing a voltage, it's going through the cable, and the job of the amplifier is to take that original signal, make it stronger so that it can literally push a speaker. At the end of the day, that's it. Done.
Exactly, and to push the speaker, you got a power transform. I mean, you got an output transformer
right before the transformer to step it up to, and then
before this, right? Yeah, well, you have one to step it up to hit the tubes. You have another one to step it up to hit the speaker.
Right, and then the other part of that is the other characteristic of the speaker is all the other, how do I want to alter that signal?
Right.
Do I want to clip it? Do I want to, when do I want to overdrive it? Do I want to keep it pristine clean? And then we're getting into things like headroom and stuff like that. Like,
sure.
That's all the ingredients of how to make that, get that speaker sound, that tone that you want out of the speaker. Mm-hmm. But that's really what it comes down to. So when I say impedance is resistance, inductance, and capacitance, those three things together. So, you're talking about gauge of wire, you're talking about length of wire, that's all resistance. When you start talking about number of turns and core material, now you're talking about inductance. If you're talking about things like the insulation, separation of one conductor to another, then you're talking about the capacitance. So but really at the end of the day, it's mainly resistance and inductance, and that's impedance.
Right.
Those two things together.
Sure. Right? And that's why you have people like these EMGs, because EMGs are very, very underwound coils that are so underwound they don't give a signal. They don't have enough power to hear them. You need you have to introduce voltage,
and then you got to have a battery. And the battery is basically the battery is creating your magnetic field.
Exactly.
Yeah, because you don't have enough windings and magnet to
build
that field. And
because of that, you will have a clearer. You'll have less things interfering. It becomes a more. Yeah. However, there's pros and cons. If you're looking for like the glassy, and you can really get a really glassy, clean sound. However, you do get an antiseptic sound.
That's the whole thing. You know what? You just hit upon an interesting thing with guitar players. Nobody wants to sound clean, pristine clean. Nobody wants high fidelity. Do you know what I mean? High fidelity for guitar tone is almost like a bad thing. It almost makes it sound sterile.
Yeah, but you're not going to get those Rush tones that Alex Lifeson got. And I'm only bringing up Rush because you're Canadian. In the States, nobody in the States considers them a good band. No, I'm just kidding.
What?
I'm sorry. I'm on a tear on them because I listened to Farewell to Kings and Hemispheres over the last 2 days, and I realized I don't like them. But I don't like those two albums. I like the 3 albums after that. But if you look at like if you listen to his clean sounds from like Grace Under Pressure, even a little bit after that, I mean, that's the sound of those EMG sounding pickups. I mean, you can hear how clean and glassy it is.
Yeah.
And so it has a purpose. Steve Lukather had that sound in some of the Toto records, like the one in '86. What is that one called? Fahrenheit. But it's not a bad thing. It's not my favorite, and it certainly wasn't their favorite for long. But it is an antiseptic sound.
Well, that's the thing, right? And it's not. All I'm saying is it's not everybody's cup of tea.
Right, but I mean, if you're going to play a Roland jazz chorus, like I put back here, I have a JC40 back there. If you're going to play a Roland jazz chorus and you want some of those 80s ridiculously clean, glassy sounds, well, it's perfect.
I know.
It's funny because what you're saying here, and I love this conversation, and sorry, because this is exactly what John and I were talking about. It's like, if I show you a jazz player that's like off the chart good, most guys who listen to rock and blues are going to be like, he doesn't have any feel. Well, that guy thinks you suck because they listen to a blues guy and they're like, what is that? Like those bends and what is that? They want to hear things. Everyone comes from a different world of what music is to them. So I always get a kick out of when I hear another person say, oh, that person has no feel. You don't like their feel, or you don't like that style of music. I mean, it's not like you're listening to a blues guy, a guy play like, now, if somebody would have come out and try to play Forever Man, and they can't hit the bends and they don't sound good and it sounds sterile, that you could say, yeah, they're not pulling it off, that they're not good. Okay. But if you see a
question, let me ask you before you, just real quick, because I was told something about jazz. Not that I play jazz. I'm not. That's not even
okay.
You know, but I said I was told that if you bend a note, you're not playing jazz.
You're playing fusion. Those jazz guys are playing with like 13s. I mean, they're not bending shit. But no, I mean, you can bend a note, but they don't.
Yeah, that's not what I was told. If you're to play strict jazz, you can't bend notes.
Right. Those bebop guys are not bending. Okay. I mean, listen to Wes Montgomery. You know, it's it's a lot of sliding. It's a lot of, and the same thing. If they hear a guy bending and you're like, what do you think of this guy? This guy's going to be like, he's wanking. Like, they don't think of that. So what I'm trying to say is it's just all perception. Everyone has a perception of what.
Right.
I try to listen to everything and like everything. But if I heard a guy that plays like if I see a neoclassical guitar player that could shred his ass off, I'm not going to say, well, he doesn't have any feel. Like, what? What does he need feel for? He's playing. You know what I mean? It's like it's.
I know what you're getting at. You can't discount the ability. I get that, right?
Yeah, that's all I'm saying.
What people are talking about is they're not looking at it objectively. They're looking at it. What do I like to hear?
Right. Well, and that's not what's being. It would be like. It's like, oh, listen, you got to try this salmon. It's blackened salmon, and then it's done with an ancho chili sauce. Let me give you a taste, and you taste, and you go, yeah, it's fishy. All right, get the fuck out. Get out. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, I know it's fishy. It's fish.
Yeah.
I hate to break it to you. Fish is fishy.
Yeah, sorry.
It's in the name.
Yeah. Let me just, there's a bunch of people that popped in here. Just give me a second here, Dave. Rick Hefner, welcome. Mark Wade, how are you? Okay, Crowbar Hack will hate me for this, but I'm just not a big fan of the Les Paul shape. I do have an Epi 60s tribute that plays great, though. The price was really, well, I don't know. Yeah, you know what? It is what it is. For me, there's no better looking guitar than a Les Paul, but again, it's preference, man. If you don't have to like Les Pauls,
I'm a Strat guy, and I'll tell you right now, the Les Paul's the best looking guitar.
Oh, there you go.
And I'm a Strat guy, but no, I can understand when someone doesn't like it.
Yeah,
because for years, if you ever seen the reverse fire or the non-reverse Firebird,
what do I own?
You have what's called the reverse Firebird.
Okay,
it's the original.
I like. The non-reverse is ugly.
The non-reverse looks like Fred Flintstone and Bonnie Rubble are going to start a band, and yet they sell them. I never understood how they sold those.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I know what you mean. Wizard One Music is here. Welcome, Sonia. Hey, how are you? I'm way behind in the chat, folks. I apologize.
Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. Remember Benny Hill? Fred Scuttles. Hello, everybody.
Yeah, we used to watch Benny Hill when I was a kid. Did I catch everyone? I'm looking. I think I got just about. I said hello to everyone at least. If anyone's got any questions for me and Dave, please tag us or tag me. You're not in the chat, are you, Dave?
I can be if I pop over this way. Let me see.
So either tag me or Dave, as I'm looking at Jason Wade's name. Jason Wade. Okay, he's talking about the YMCA.
Oh, no, Krellbaugh makes a good point. See, Krellbaugh gets it. He's talking about, like, Joe Pass. No, it's exactly right. So that's my point, is, like, you could see, like...
Brian Stewart, welcome. Sorry, go ahead, Dave.
No, you could see all these different players that are, like, that do their thing. And people always have, like, I don't want to say disparaging, but they're always like... Well, it doesn't have. It's like there's a lot of great playing out there. There's a lot of great guitars. I mean,
it's the difference. It's okay. I hear a couple of things from what you're saying. One is, people are judging by opinion and they're not being objective, right?
Well, I've always said on my lists, when people tell me they make a top 10 list, I'm always like, can somebody tell me the criteria?
Yeah, what's the criteria, right?
I just want to know what the criteria of this list is, because I don't know how Hendrix is on every list. It would be like if
he's always
you see
one.
Hendrix is number one, right? But what's the criteria? It's a competition of people's favorites.
Right.
Because I respect Hendrix and love what Hendrix did. I was a huge fan of very specific things that he did. I'm also not a very big fan of his voice, his songs, and a lot of what he did. So if someone said to me like, "Oh, but he's the greatest player," I don't think so.
Yeah. Well, there's that, and then the other thing that I gather from what you're saying is a lot of it is just, you know what, writing stuff off because you can't do it.
Well, a lot of people do. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I have, like, when I watch like a great jazz player or listen to a great jazz, like a Pat Metheny or one of these guys.
He's awesome.
You know, I'm like, holy shit, not in 1,000 years can I do what this guy's doing, right? Now,
why do you think that is?
Why do I think that is?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think you have to be, I think more than anything is you have to be born with the desire to want to do that.
I think it has to do with what they hear and what we hear.
Well,
like they hear it and somehow to them it moves them so much that they understand it. It's like somebody speaking their language and they try to speak it back. And for me, it's like hearing a foreign language and it sounds nice and I can pick up parts of it and how to do some of it. But I lack that desire as well too, because I just don't understand it as well.
I think that, I mean, now we're getting into nature and nurture, but I think that a lot of it comes right down to like, how bad do you want it? You know what I mean? Like, so,
yeah, no, it's desire. It's completely, but I think it has to do also with desire and how you communicate with it.
And ability too, right? Like, so you could want it as bad as the next guy, but the next guy will be able to do it better than you because he just has that, you know, more ability than you do, right? But how far you get, I think, really starts with how bad you want it, right? So,
yeah, but I think with jazz, I mean, just like blues, I hear blues, and to me, I'm turned off.
Right.
I do. I've never liked the sound of somebody just wanking over a dominant scale. And I just don't care. It doesn't sound good to me, and it doesn't. However, to me, Led Zeppelin was the greatest rock and roll band of all time because they took it someplace, and they took it to a place that it hadn't been.
Right.
And but like when I hear like strict blues, like when people sit there and tell me like, you really want to hear Stormy Monday, you got to hear T-Bone Walker's version. Yeah, he sold 4 records for a reason. It's not good.
But he sold 5 overseas.
What? Oh, he did? He sold 7 in Canada. I don't know what the hell's going on up there, you guys.
I got him in the cupboard.
God. I don't know. But I can listen I mean, I like everything to a point.
But there's
some things, yeah.
There's only certain people that I can listen to. Like I could like a whole record's worth, like a whole 10 songs worth of material.
Really?
There's only certain people that I can listen to where I just don't get bored silly after 3 songs in. Right? There has to be enough variety. Like you mentioned blues. I would not be able to sit and listen to an entire blues album unless it was somebody that I find exceptional. And that for me, like a Stevie Ray Vaughan, I could listen to Stevie Ray Vaughan record front to back.
Wow. That I cannot.
Well, there you go, right? Now, I mean, and I'm not just picking on blues, like any genre. Like, you would have to pay me like
there's a lot of bands that have perfect albums.
You know, for me to be able to for example, and again, like skill wise and ability, like had my head off to him, like Yngwie Malmsteen. My God, can that guy play? I could not listen to a record of Yngwie front to back. I can maybe.
No, of course not. Well, other than the Alcatraz album that has songs, because those bands don't have songs. It's just Right. I mean, that would be like, hey, listen, honey, I bought this great movie, this porn movie. Let's watch it. Oh, wait a second. It's just a guy masturbating. The hell are we doing here? The song is, and I always say that because of Gene Simmons, and Gene Simmons is not wrong. He's like, a song is like a couple having sex. It's got to be sexy. It's got to have all the parts. When it doesn't have the parts, and you got a guy like Mark St. James up there masturbating, you have people going, what, where's the girl? What's going on here? Folks, if this material is going over everyone's head, please, I was kidding. But seriously, it's like, but that was what Gene Simmons says, and it's the same thing. It's like Yngwie Malmsteen comes out, and he's just like, right in the front row. You're like, what? Like,
don't bore us. Get to the chorus.
No, just get to a song. Put away your schlong and get to the song.
I remember I used to be like big into Joe Satriani, huge into Joe Satriani. And
I will apologize to all the people that are watching this right now. You heard it, folks.
Right? This is back. Oh God, when was this? This would have been in like the early mid 90s, right?
Yeah, summer song stuff. The Extremist album.
Extremist record for me was huge, right? And
yeah, of course.
Like, and I was learning how to play, and I was trying to play that style, and whatever, right? Anyways, and Joe Satriani came to town, and I went to see Joe Satriani, and I was like about 45 minutes in. I'm like looking at my watch, like I'm done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I just, there has to be a song, like a vocal. There's got to be variety. There has got to, like, you mentioned Led Zeppelin. I mean, you can listen to a Led Zeppelin record. How many styles are you going to be hit with? How much variety are you going to get with every single record that they do? Like, can't get bored with Led Zeppelin.
Everything the band does is within the bounds of what those four guys were willing to do. And they loved music. They played all kinds of music, and they elevated the music, and they were great. I mean, they have every album of theirs is fantastic. I can't think of any album that I could say by Zeppelin that's not a fantastic album. I mean, every album's fantastic by them. Yeah, but and there's I mean, look at Rush. Let me explain to you Rush. Moving Pictures is a perfect album. Every song is fantastic. It's something to listen to. A Farewell to Kings, not so much. It's just a lot of like, I find it to be, what it's like? I find it to be like real simplistic. It reminds me of 3-chord rock guys trying to be Yes. And I realize I do not like those records because of that. I don't feel like there's anything going on that's super interesting. There's a lot of great drum work, and there's some cool bass stuff, but there's no song. I mean, Closer to the Heart's a decent song. I mean, that's a great song, but that's one song on one album. Cinderella Man is... And then, what's the next album? Hemispheres? I do like Circumstances.
Yes.
That's a great song because it's a song. And what's the last? Oh no, I don't even like the last one. It's the one before the last one.
That was my first.
Oh, The Trees. Yeah, The Trees is all right.
The Hemispheres was my first Rush record. And so I got a soft spot for Hemispheres in particular. I think Hemispheres is fantastic. I actually prefer Hemispheres over 2112.
Oh, I do not like 2112. But I will say this. Listen to Hemispheres in a room with 5 people that have never heard the album before.
Oh.
You're going to get an experience of the album through other people's eyes because you have jaded eyes because you bought it first. And I'm the same way about stuff like that too. I'll be the first one to admit I love crap. I was a little kid. I got into Devo. I love this stuff. I play it for other people. They're like, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
I have no problem with that.
No, yeah, I got, I mean, the records, they just, like, for me, I'm sorry, Will, but we're going to talk Kiss now. But my first Kiss records, man, like, I can hear those songs forever, and I will never tire of them.
My first Kiss record was Alive 2. And
okay.
I can't listen to any of those songs anymore.
Oh,
but
really?
Kiss a lot, I can't. I do not like the second half. Um, I say Kiss has 3 careers. You have up to Kiss Alive, that's career 1. Up to Kiss Alive 2, that's the second half. And then after that, you have Dynasty and Unmasked, and the rest is shite.
Mm.
Yeah, it's sad, isn't it? To think all those albums you bought in vain. They're terrible. Please don't make me quote the lyrics of Animalize.
My favorite lyric
Exactly.
is a song called "Burn, Bitch, Burn."
I know it. Let me put my, what is it?
Gene is a poet laureate.
Yeah.
Okay, let me say hello to a few more people. Rock and Roll Guitar Lounge, how are you? Man, I'm not really. I'm missing a whole whack of stuff in the chat. Gwen James, where does the middle, bass, and treble come from in a pickup? There's a question.
What does that mean?
He's talking about the frequencies. So those are different parts of the frequency spectrum, right?
Yeah, they measure it.
Yeah.
They measure the sound coming from the pickup, and it's just that's where it comes from. You're gonna have more brights if you are using a hotter magnet. The hotter the magnet, the will be the brighter the sound. So you'll have like a ceramic pickup is a very bright pickup.
If you want to get really super nerdy, I mean, it depends on the frequency of the string vibration. What'll be classified as the bass spectrum, what's the middle,
exactly. And you'll see a lot of times they'll say this is kind of, because it's not an exact science, they're kind of like saying this is how it sounds to them, or how they, or the average of what they measure, but it's nonsense.
Marsman's got a question for you. Hey, Guitar Hack, tell Dave I got the Timmy. Now I can't make up my mind if I want as an always on or heavy dirt. I may need 2.
I own 3. What's the other question? I love them. I don't use it as an always on. I use it as a solo boost. Yeah. So I keep the gain at 50%, and I'm adding that much gain in my solo boost.
Jeff Underwood is here. Welcome. Stafford's Music Studio. How's it going? Okay. Quinn asked that question again.
What do you say?
No, I just asked the same question again. Oh man, the chat just jumped. I missed.
Oh, it's flying over here.
Holy shit. Okay, hang on. Let me go back here. Fred Fridge, how are you? Marquardt on fire tonight. Yeah, Dave's always on fire. Murder in High Heels, says Brian Stewart. Yeah, that's a classic right there.
What's that?
Murder in High Heels. What is that? That's either on Asylum or Animalize, one of those records.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, those are like the songs that Gene wrote in the car, like, you know. Came back in, I got another one, you know, one of those quickie tunes that he had to come up with on the fly. Wizard One Music, did Rush do an album of covers? Yes, they did. Yeah, Empirism, haven't seen you in a long time. Jay Steen, how are you? The album that they did with covers, they did The Seeker on that. They did Crossroads on that.
Summertime Blues, I think.
Summertime Blues on that, yeah. I can't remember.
I'm not gonna be wrong. I like Rush a lot. I just think those 2 albums I never gave a good listen to, and so I thought I would listen to them this week. And I realized I had listened to them many times, and I just didn't care for them. I like the first 3 albums a lot. The first one, Fly By Night and Caress of Steel. And then I think 2112 and these other 2 kind of fit into the same thing, where it's like 1 or 2 songs and the rest of the record is unlistenable to me.
Yeah.
And then Permanent Waves, Moving Pictures, and Signals is phenomenal.
That record is off the charts. Yeah.
You know, when I think about stuff like that, I'm like, what were these guys thinking? Like in the beginning, they came out, they were like a Zeppelin band. Then they kind of were doing, you know, the Yes thing and kind of being as prog as they could be. And somewhere around Permanent Waves, they got like, oh, we can be both. We can actually have songs. Yeah. And that's what they were missing, because that's what Yes did in the beginning. Yes did the same thing. Yes was like, we're a prog band that has great songs, and then by the time you get to Relayer and Tales of Topographic Oceans, they become more of a prog, and they've forgotten about the amazing hooks they had in their songs. I mean, because if you listen to Close to the Edge, that is a gorgeous song. Forget about all the coloring and or Starship Trooper or any. Oh, you know Rush, but you don't know Yes because they're from England and the other one's from Canada.
That's
we
right.
see. We see how this goes. I bet you're a big Camel fan too, right?
Camel.
No. Wasn't Camel from Canada?
I don't know. Who the hell's Camel?
They were a prog rock band.
Yeah, I'm not a prog rock guy.
Hold on, but you're Canadian.
Rush. That's the closest I got to prog rock is Rush. If you want to call Max Webster prog rock, that's the closest I get. I never got into Yes or Crimson or any of these other bands.
Oh, no, Camel was from England. I'm sorry.
Oh, so that's why I don't know them.
Oh, they were from Guildford. Look at that.
Oh, there you go.
That's where Andertons is.
Yeah, yeah. I almost made it to Andertons. I was very close. That's a few years ago. Will Varella's got a question for you. He says, or a comment. I disagree with Dave. I saw Hendrix live. Dave has only seen video of Jimmy.
Right. And what does that mean?
I guess live he's and people
tell me a guitar. Tell me who he thinks is an okay guitar player.
Okay, there's a question for you, Will.
It's an absurd statement because if I said to someone, "Oh, you guys think Neil Giraldo from Pat Benatar is just good? You've never seen him live, and therefore you can't have an opinion of him." You'd be like, "Well, I can hear the fucking guy on a record. I've seen live video." What does that mean? I mean, it doesn't mean anything.
He's also saying Dave's not a blues guy. Unbelievable. No blues, no rock.
Well, you could say no blues, no rock. But that would be like if I said to you, do you guys like cake? Do you like eating cake?
Sure.
How about pouring sugar? Do you like if I just took a bag of sugar and poured it down your throat? You'd be like, I'll pass on the sugar. Oh, well, no sugar, no cake.
I hear you.
No, you don't, because that's true. Because just because you like the blues and the blues influenced rock, that doesn't mean they're the same thing, and you can't not have one without the other.
Yeah, generally, the rock that I prefer always has a little bit of a blues element to it.
Oh, really? I could have sworn the other night when I saw your band playing, I was hearing Surrender.
Yeah.
Not a lot of blues in that song, if you don't mind.
Right. But
it's a rock and roll song.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. But actually, the song I prefer doing is oh shit.
Let me talk about Burn, Bitch Burn, or Burn. What is it? Burn. Let me talk about the Blues Roots. That song is nothing but a ripoff of one of Robert Johnson's. It's ridiculous.
Skinny Melon Willie, yeah.
Yeah, that's a song by Blind Lemon Pie.
Yeah. Quentin James is remember when you I got a running joke on my channel about Pink Floyd, right? And we have discussed, so for those of you, Dave and I talk quite a bit off air and stuff, and Dave was trying to get me to understand what the appeal was of Pink Floyd. So they've sent me some Pink Floyd music.
Mm-hmm.
Sent me the record Animals, and you said, listen.
I did. Yes.
Right? And it's good I wasn't driving because I would have gone off the road. I just basically fell asleep listening to.
Well, that's it. You know how many people have insomnia that wish they could listen to Animals? No, but the whole point is you and I were talking. You basically had said you had not been exposed to Pink Floyd.
Outside of...
Or was it that Pink Floyd never exposed themselves to you? It's one of the two. But either way, you said you hadn't been exposed to Pink Floyd. I'm like, well, check out Animals. To me, this is the record, if you're not familiar. And you still didn't like it.
Oh,
and I have no problem with that. And I'm a huge Pink Floyd fan. I don't get upset if you don't say David Gilmour is the... I mean, I could care less.
Now, hold on a second. That's where I'll stop you, because I love Gilmour's solos.
No, it's not about what you're missing. What I'm saying is your opinion of the band doesn't factor in. I don't need you to like them.
Right.
I was just trying to, we were conversing about it. But at the end of the day, I don't need you to like them. I won't say, you've never seen Pink Floyd live, you'll never get it. You're
Yeah.
like, all right,
Yeah.
okay. I've never seen them live. Yeah.
No, like you know, you were talking about the songs. For me, there's no songs. It's just,
Oh no, they're phenomenal.
yeah,
But I get it. You don't like them.
doesn't do anything for me.
However,
Nocturnal Butterfly is here. Hey, Nocturnal. Sorry, go ahead.
worldwide, they're the third biggest selling album, third biggest selling band of all time worldwide.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Can you name the two before them? The
Michael
two that beat
Jackson?
them? No.
No?
No.
Beatles?
Number one are the Beatles.
Number two? Rolling Stones or U2?
No. Nope. U2. Come on. Rolling Stones are number 4.
Okay, worldwide all time. Number 2. So I got the Beatles right. It can't be Zeppelin.
Bingo.
Really, eh?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. Second biggest selling band of all time. Now, that's not individual albums. The biggest selling album of all time worldwide is Back in Black.
Yeah. Yeah, Back in Black. Yeah, that because I heard that a while back, and that surprised me because I thought it would have been like Thriller or something like that.
And I think it was Thriller for a long time until Back in Black passed it.
Oh, really?
Well, see, what happened was in the United States, the Eagles were number 1 with they passed Michael Jackson's Thriller with the best-selling album of all time, and then Michael Jackson died, and Thriller beat him again.
Right, right.
And then I think the Eagles funded that movie that was talking about Michael Jackson being a pedophile, and the Eagles passed him again. They didn't have anything to do with the movie.
Sounds like two guys are racing, and one guy's grabbing him by his shirt, keep pulling him back, running ahead of him.
Don Henley had this idea. What if we fund a movie that shows him as a pedophile? Go with it. Big news today. The Eagles are number 1 again in the United States. I don't know if that's how it happened, but that's the story I'm sticking to.
Oh, here's a comment from Will Varela. I bet Dave must be a hoot deciding on what to eat on a menu. As soon as you say what you want, he says, "Why would you eat that?"
You guys ever watch the show Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee? When Jerry Seinfeld goes with Larry David to a restaurant, and Larry David's like, "Oh, I can't eat anything hot for lunch. What's wrong with you?"
Oh, shit. I don't know. I'm last told. What are we talking about?
Who said that again? I want to know where he saw me at a restaurant, because that's exactly what I say. Wait, what are you getting?
What are you getting?
Right.
Oh, man. Did Crowbar, did Henley write Boys of Summer about Michael Jackson?
That's right. He wrote it with him and Mike Campbell got together, and they were like, what can we do to make the Eagles number 1? We'll start this many years in advance. We'll do this in the 80s.
Oh, Lord.
It took him many years to surpass them.
Oh, Brian Stewart, Magnets. We were talking about Magnets and got sidetracked. I think Magnets was like 45 minutes ago.
Right.
Hey, Scott Connors here. Welcome. All right. So listen, folks, I know I've been ignoring the chat, but if anyone's got any questions, I promised. I promised.
Let me pop over to the.
So tag.
Driving with your pants down. That's a good one.
So what?
That was wait, where did I see that?
Oh God.
Brian Stewart said it. You know, that driving with whatever that Don Henley song was.
Oh yeah. Hey, Jack Daniels 10101, how are you? So folks, if anyone's got any questions for myself or Dave, please throw them in. And I think you good for another, say, 15 minutes or so, Dave?
I'm fine. You got 52 people watching.
Really?
Yeah.
God damn.
That's what it says on my end.
Yeah, 52 people.
Yeah, you can't.
Oh, Quentin.
You got to give the people what they want. That's what I always.
Don't let Dave know I put ketchup on my well done ribeye. All right, I won't tell him.
Oh my God! Someone didn't say that, did they?
Yeah, he's got a problem.
How do you like your steak? Rare. Ooh, an aristocrat. Name the movie. Anyone?
Oh God.
It's Goodfellas. But yeah, so wait, catch
Wizard
up?
One, sorry, Dave. Wizard One is asking me, is there a show every Tuesday now? So Wizard One Music, I have a show next Tuesday with Dave R's Guitars, who's also in the chat. So that'll be a show next Tuesday, but that one will be at 7 p.m. So next Tuesday there will be a show. It's 11 a.m. Jack Daniels. Whoa, where are you, Jack Daniels? So Brian Stewart, so you fingered looking at the 50s P90 LP, how much larger than my Slim? You'd be surprised, Brian Stewart. It's not that much bigger than your 60 Slim Taper. I'm able to play them comfortably, so and I'll tell you something, Brian Stewart, if you're looking for a P90 Les Paul and you want to save some money, get a 2018. They're still floating around. They have the 60 Slim Taper necks.
Hold on. James Severin.
Yeah.
Why would I care that you guys don't like Pink Floyd? I don't care. Like I said, I don't care if people like the same thing that I like. It's when I say that I don't like something, all of a sudden everyone's like, well, it's righteous indignation time. You don't like Hendrix? You got to see him live. Exhume him. I'll watch him.
Oh, that's just me.
I know.
Hey, Dale Palmer's here.
I'm kidding. I don't even know who said that earlier, but like I said, I just think it's a ridiculous.
BC Rich.
Yeah.
How are you? Sorry, Brian Stewart. Listen, if you can find a 2018 on Blowout Gibson Les Paul, it'll be a P90. They came in gold as well, and you'll save yourself a shitload of money instead of buying the new 50s P90 Les Pauls. I'm just putting that out there. And it'll have a 60s neck on it, if you don't want to risk the 50s neck with the newer ones. Just putting that out there, Brian. Check it out. Jesco Plumbing Guitar Hack, is a DiMarzio Evo considered a hot pickup?
Evo is, yeah.
Do you know the story about the Larry DiMarzio, like when he started out?
You asking me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
With the Kiss connection there?
No.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah. When he was starting up winding pickups, that's where Kiss was one of their first clients. And Ace's guitar and his signature guitar has the super distortion DiMarzios.
Right. Oh yeah, absolutely. It's got those. That's what those double cream pickups were.
Right. Yeah. So they are kind of partially responsible for getting his name out there.
Look, DiMarzio is a good brand. However, I would say most of their pickups are crap. And I think that somebody working at the company would agree with me. That's what they told me. The thing is they make a lot of pickups for other people for their specs and what they want. And they're not really great. That's why they get a bad name, because they make things like the Evolution pickup and what's the other Blaze or whatever. But the Air Classics, the Fred, the Super Distortion, the Area pickups, bless you. They were all great pickups.
Mm-hmm.
But Seymour Duncan, most of his good pickups are crap too. All these guys, they're out there making things that people are asking for, but it's not something that they think needs to be made. It's it's a real silly. I mean, if you listen to like Seymour Duncan pickups, the best sounding one is probably the Pearly Gates.
Yeah, I was going to say
that thing's been around for 25 years already. It was made for what's his face.
Is it a Billy Gibbons, right?
Yep. Yeah, and it's kind of like his PAF that was in his Les Paul, but I mean, most of the stuff is, useless.
Brian Stewart is saying, problem is the 18 Classics with P90s for sale, used all weigh 11 pounds. Yeah, Brian, my 18 Classic is a heavy guitar, but I mean, honestly, man, like, if you're not going to put it on and play it for 3-4 hours a night, what does it matter how much it weighs? You know what I mean? I'd save myself.
What guitar is it?
He's looking at he wants a Les Paul with P90s, and the new line of Gibsons has a Les Paul with P90s with a 50s neck, and he's asking.
Oh, nice.
But what I was saying to him was, because he plays a 60 slim taper like me, and what I'm saying to him, suggestion is if he buys the 2018, because they're basically throwing him out the door now, he could save himself a ton of money, still get a P90 Les Paul, and not have to worry about the neck.
Right.
And he's saying that they weigh a lot. The only time, I mean, like weight, weight for me is not a consideration. Okay, let me rephrase that. It is a consideration because I'm thinking, yeah, I got to wear this for 3-4 hours at a gig. But if I'm a home player, why I don't get why weight is such a big deal. You know what I mean? Because you're playing it on your lap, right? Like it's not going to mess up your back. So
the 2018 not weight relieved?
No, it is. But you know what? I shot a video earlier today because somebody wanted me to do a walkthrough of all my Les Pauls. All my Gibsons. So I shot that video today. And I've got 4 Les Pauls. And are they all weight relieved? Yeah, I think they're all, well, except the 2005 standards, I think were already weight relieved at that point. But the 2018 Classic that I have is the heaviest guitar out of all of them.
Uh-huh.
And even the new standards that I was telling you earlier that I was playing, they're lighter than my 2018 Classic.
Sure.
That is weight relieved. So,
well, that's because they're using concrete for wood. No, they're using really heavy, cheap wood. I mean, that's just when you go buy from a wood supplier, the guy's like, if you want light wood, it's cost a premium.
Yeah,
but if the heavy wood, you're paying for it.
It could be grade, yeah.
And let me tell you, anyone that thinks that the weight relieved is changing the tone of the instruments, Hack will give a class on inductance and explain how a guitar works.
Don't drag me into this.
Oh my God.
Han 36 almost says if it's heavy, it slides off your leg.
The funniest thing I ever heard was a guy who was working for Tyler Guitars. Whoa. And I was talking to him, we talked about the Flying V, and I go, I don't like the fact you can't play sitting down. He throws his pen down. He's like, you can't rock sitting down.
Okay, it looks like I got an announcement to make. Alert, alert, alert. Quentin fucking James is a new grandpa. Congratulations, buddy.
Hey, congrats. That's awesome.
Beautiful. And R2R3 is here. Welcome, R2R3. How are you?
That's awesome.
Okay.
It's a potato without penis? What the hell's that?
Yeah, they're coming in. Mark Dillon is here. Welcome.
Hey, Mark.
Congratulating Quentin. That's awesome. Good for you, buddy. Grandpa Quentin.
Uncle Grandpa.
Uncle Grandpa. Dear Lord.
Ooh, I love that show. You ever see Uncle Grandpa?
Girl. Sorry, what was that?
You ever see Uncle Grandpa?
No.
Seriously?
No.
It's a cartoon. When my niece comes here, it's always on. It's this guy with this magical fanny pack. It's ridiculous. It's really funny. Oh, all newborns look like a potato. Okay.
That's funny.
Did this guy just talk smack about Seymour Duncan? Yes. Yes, I did. Most of his pickups are garbage. Also, Seymour Duncan in his thing, like on his page, he'll sit there and be like, this guitar was designed for a lighter wood. What a shitbag. He knows better than that than to say that. That's just, he is just trying to appeal to the whole mystique that's like just false.
The one thing that gets under my skin, Dave, and yours too, right? I would imagine is like the misinformation that goes into some of the marketing for.
Oh, it's disinformation because they know don't think for a second they don't know. They know.
Well,
it's it's horseshit.
It's horseshit, and it's the intent. And the intent is like, well, it's keeping myths alive.
Yeah, right? And Seymour was big on that. He's big on like I made this pickup for like a heavy wood. Shut the fuck up. It's I just get irritated.
You know, because if you know how this shit works, and you have you don't even have like as if you like it's basic physics, you know, in terms of, and I'm not just talking about guitar. I'm talking about everything, like pedals, you know, amps, you know, tubes, like all this sort of thing. Like if you kind of have even a fundamental idea of how all this stuff works, it doesn't really take long to be able to see through all the bullshit that keeps getting thrown at you.
Right. That's my only problem I have with Seymour. As far as him being a pickup manufacturer, I think, like I said, he has a few good pickups. I love the staple P90 he makes. And then most of his line is crap.
Yeah.
Like the Invader. You know, because some heavy metal hero wants I want a pickup that's going to sound like this and like this. And then you go see a documentary about them making the album, and the producer's like, yeah, you ain't using that guitar. Use that one. That sounds like shit.
Yeah, so Dave's saying snake oil. Yeah, a lot of it is snake oil, unfortunately. You know.
Yeah, I mean, look at people. Look, on my podcast with John yesterday, we were talking about John 5.
Oh,
Anybody
man.
will tell you the worst Marshall amp is the JCM 900 dual reverb. Everyone always rips on that amp and says it's terrible. I owned one. I actually sold it to a buddy of mine. I like the way it sounds. He likes the way it sounds. You can dial any amp to sound good and any amp to sound bad, but John 5's using it. Anyone going to sit there and say John 5's not a fucking smoking player? It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. I mean, everyone has an opinion of what they like to use.
Right.
And then there's stuff that's like, you know.
Well, I did a show the other day, actually a week ago Thursday, where I literally had my pedal board sitting right here. And I had people picking out songs. What tone would you dial up for this? And would you dial up for that? And so on and so forth. So the point of my show wasn't, these are the greatest pedals ever made, and these are the ones that you need to buy. That wasn't my point. My point was, these are the ingredients that I work for me, that I can get pretty much, not perfect, because you're never going to match a tone perfectly, but you're going to get in the ballpark. You know what I mean? Where it's not going to sound ridiculous to the song that you're playing, right?
Sure.
So people were like, okay, what tone would you use for this? And I would sit there and turn this one on, turn that one off, you know, move a couple of knobs, and I'd get in the ballpark. And I did everything with the Les Paul, right? You know, so that's another limiting factor. I'm using humbucker guitars, but you know what I mean? But still, like, these are the ingredients.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, you can't, once you've got, whether it's and the amp I'm using that I was using was the Marshall DSL. Now, why I like those pedals and that amp is because, you know, you jump into the great wide world of gear, and this is what I ended up coming out with, and this was what works for me. And what I like about it is it doesn't take me forever to get a good sound.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
I mean,
that for me is the biggest thing with gear. If you say to me, you know, hey, this is the greatest pedal in the world, and I sit here and I'm like, oh yeah, well, you know, and then you get here and you're messing with it and you're messing with it, and oh, that one was good, and then you touch something else and it becomes a struggle. I don't care in that one position that it sounds good. If you know, if the wind is blowing the wrong way that next day and it sounds like ass, I don't want this pedal anymore.
Sure.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Well, so many people, it's like the playing. If you can play and pull off the song, get it in the ballpark, and you're going to be all right.
Yeah.
Because it's, you know, when some people will say to me, I'm trying to sound like Jeff Beck, what should I get? I'm like, lessons. Right? Because there's no gear that's going to make you sound like Jeff Beck. You got to learn how to play like him. If you want to sit there and sound like somebody, if you're like trying to get a sound, you can dial it, get it close. But let me tell you, you can listen to like a Led Zeppelin record, and I don't know why I'm pulling out Led Zeppelin, but any band or Rush or any guitar player you listen to, they're playing an amp that's being picked up by a microphone. That microphone's going through a compressor that costs more than your amp at home. That compressor is putting it through a board, through an EQ. It's getting mixed. Finally, it's getting mixed so it fits in with the mix of the song, that it's not even being EQ'd to sound good on its own, but sound good in this mix.
Right.
And it's being mixed to a 2-inch master. Now, it's going off to a guy that's going to master the record. And now the master guy is going to put it through a whole shitload of gear. And again, that when the guy who plays on it finally hears the record, he's like, holy shit, that does sound good. I don't remember it sounding good when we were in the studio. Happens all the time.
Yeah.
And then you're going to go chase that mixed, mastered sound and get super anal about it and tell me what he's using on it. It's like, get the hell away from me, would you please?
But here's
fake anything.
But some guy will make a pedal and he'll tell you that sound on that record is right here.
Oh yeah, that's it. That's that sound.
It's in there. All those layers that you talked about are in there. And there's no reference of what am I plugging this pedal into?
A phone charger, I guess.
I guess it doesn't matter what amp I'm going into. I guess it doesn't matter what guitar I'm using.
Right.
I just need that pedal.
Well, you know, you brought up somebody's looking for a P90 Les Paul. David Gilmour, your favorite guitar player in your favorite band, Pink Floyd, in the song Another Brick in the Wall, that solo is played on a P90 Les Paul, a 56 Les Paul. 90%, 99% of the time, people are going to say it's a Strat.
Yeah, that's what he's known for, right?
Well, but it sounds like a Strat because it's a single coil pickup.
Right.
There's a single coil going through his board that sounds like him. He's playing it. The ear will hear what it wants to hear. People say to me all the time on my channel, how did you dial in that tone? I'm like, I'm just doing it I'm getting it in the ballpark. It's not even close to exact. Sometimes I don't even like the sound that's on the record. I'm like, I'll tweak it a little bit more this way or take some of the gain out. But because people hear the solo and they hear it the way it's played on the record, then they're like, oh man, that sounds just like it. That's the biggest thing, is the playing.
Yeah.
The other part comes, you know, if you're going and you play Just What I Needed, which you play with your band, and when the night you nail that solo, people are going to come up and go, man, that sounded just like it.
Yeah.
That's how it works. The ear does a lot of it. I mean, even if the keyboards don't sound exactly like it, but everything's kind of in the ballpark.
Yeah.
The human ear fills in with the memory of, oh, that's the record. That's perfect.
Yeah.
It's just, you know, people waste so much time on gear talk. And my channel initially, when I started my channel, like I told you, was twofold. I wanted to remember the songs and I wanted to rant about the business because I find the business silly. For me, in the playing aspect and doing sessions and all that, I mean, I can't even tell you how many times I'd go in a session and the guy's like, yeah, don't bring an amp. And I'd go in and plug into the old rack mount Sans amp.
Right.
And in 5 minutes, we're getting a killer fucking sound that sounds like an old 5E3 amp being pushed. Sounded great. And nobody knew any different. It doesn't matter. You know, the only thing that I don't like gear-wise is things like Axe effects that have like the 1980 window where it's like scroll down. You know what I mean? It's like in the age of computers, if I can't plug that into my laptop, get it away from me. If I'm using one of those windows where it's like, where I feel like it's from the movie War Games, back doors are not a secret. You know, it's like, come on. I'm not using it. I haven't got the time or the patience.
Yeah. Like getting back to what I was saying about the gear thing, like for me, that being able to get a sound quick that I like, that's a good piece of gear. Like whether it be amps or whatever, you know, if I'm fighting an amp to try to get a good tone out of it, I don't want that amp, you know. And the other thing too, it has to be versatile in the sense that it's, you know, it doesn't matter what guitar I plug into it, I can get a good sound out of it. And that goes with pedals as well. Like It's just ease of use and be able to get good tones out of
Right.
whatever you're using. For me, at the end of the day, that's it. And once you've found your ingredients, you're good to go. Because how much better, then it becomes a lack of sort of the law of diminishing returns, right? Like once you get to that point, how much better are you going to sound if you get another amp or you know what I mean, a better amp or a better, you know what I mean? Is it worthwhile?
Yeah, I mean, the issue is I'm not a guitar, like I used to have a big guitar collection. Now I don't. And I'm even like looked at my guitars the other day going, what would I get rid of? Just because, God, I love the way a certain few of my guitars feel, and that's like awesome. I don't really see like when see like, oh, so and so's coming up with a new guitar. I tell you, the only SG I ever looked at recently was Chicago Music had a limited run of SGs.
Mhm.
Have you seen those? They look like 61s with the tortoiseshell guard. They had it in TV yellow, and they looked really cool. And I thought about it for a minute. A minute. But anyways, I was like afterwards, it's so unnecessary. I have what I need. I think a lot of people like, I'm a much more utilitarian person. So
Yeah.
I just like, give me the guitar, the amp, I'll get a couple of pedals for it. And I have a big board, but it's like everything has a purpose. The second the purpose is gone, it's gone because I
If
don't
you
need
don't
it.
use it, you get rid of it, right?
I either get rid of it or I'll find it for another board, or if it's something else I could use. But if it's something that I feel that I don't like the sound of, it's gone. It's gone.
Let me ask you a question. This is something I keep forgetting to ask you because you're pretty knowledgeable on the pedals as well. I use at the moment I use a tube screamer as a lead boost.
Uh-huh.
Okay, and like I usually run it. I'll have the volume. Like I get a mini tube screamer. You know, so it's just got the volume and the tone on it, and then it's got
Mhm.
the gain knob in the middle, right?
All
So I
right.
usually the gain knob I don't want like crazy extra more gain. So at the
Sure.
most 12 o'clock, right? The level maxed out. So I got
Okay.
full volume. And then the tone, depending on the guitar, I don't want it ice picky, so it depends on the guitar. Anyway,
Sure.
what I find is that is depending on what amp I use, what guitar I use. Sometimes I get enough boost when I hit it. It's loud enough, right? To
Mhm. Sure.
take me above the instrument so people can hear the solo. Other times it's just all I'm hearing is like the frequency change. I'm not getting any more volume.
Right.
Like
Okay.
so it's gone to a point now where I'll use that and then further down my chain, I have a clean boost when I'm playing a clean lead, which is the mini, the spark booster, the TC pedal.
I do.
Yeah, it's just straight clean boost, doesn't color anything. I use that for clean boost. So what I'll do is I'll have the tube screamer on, hit that, start playing notes. If I can't hear it as it's not as loud, then I hit that to bring me up in volume. But
Okay.
why is that? Like, why am I not getting enough volume out of that stupid tube screamer to the point
Well,
where I'm thinking about maybe a Timmy would do me better?
Timmy would be better. It definitely would be better. But if you like what the tube screamer is doing, but it's not doing the tube screamer to me it cuts a lot of frequency out. It reshapes the sound of
Right.
even with the gain down. It's
Mm.
going to reshape the tone of the sound, which I'm not a big fan of. But there are clones and knockoffs that do a better job. The AC booster by Exotic Effects and the RC booster
Hmm.
is the AC booster is really like a clone with a separate, instead of tone, it's got a bass and volume, a bass and treble. It's called AC booster. It's almost clean. It gives you like a little bit more here. The RC booster is really clean. That's just like a clean boost. The gain doesn't really do much. I think one of those pedals would be better off what you're using it for. But to me, the tube screamer is it alters the sound too much and thins it out for my taste. It might make it hard for you to hear it. And then also because you're not using the gain, which I'm sure adds the volume.
So you think if I crank the gain, that would make a difference, eh?
Not crank. Well, just turn it. It would take it from where you have the volume full up. The more you add gain, the more it should be. It should be driving it. And what's the amp you're hitting it with? Is that the Marshall?
It depends. It's either the Marshall combo, the DSL, or it's the last few gigs I've been using actually my my Hughes and Kettner Tube Meister.
Let me ask you this question: what other pedals are on? Because something might be on after it that could be absorbing that extra volume and putting out less volume.
What normally, well, the reverb will be on after it. It'll be time-based stuff. It'll be reverb.
Okay, so nothing that's being affected. Nothing that should.
Well, unless I got an EP booster right at the very end, which is an always-on pedal. But I had this problem even before I used the EP booster. Even before.
Okay.
Okay, you know what? You just gave me.
So why are you using the EP booster last if you're using it as an always-on?
Why? The EP booster for me, what it does is it just everything sounds kind of flat. Nothing really pops, but when I hit that EP booster, everything just sort of.
And you like it in the end.
I like it. Yeah. Well, where else would you?
Not literally, folks.
But
well, if you put it in the beginning, then once if you're having the tube screamer after it and it slams it, it's not capping it. You know what I mean? Because if the EP booster is taking a signal, and then your volume is set for a certain volume, it might be capping what's going on there. But if you said it happened before that, but it could do that.
But when I use the EP booster, I got the gain on that at nothing, 0. I'm not putting.
I thought the EP booster was one knob.
Right, but the one knob is down at 0 is what I'm saying. Right, like in other words, what? I'm not using it. I don't have any gain coming off of it. I got it down at 0. But
it's still. Oh, it doesn't change the volume. It's not acting as a.
No, not really. No, all it does is it does something to the it does something to the EQ where it just sort of.
Well, I know it's the it's the boost circuit of an Echoplex.
Right. But
I'm just trying to figure out what the I had one. I hated it. I got rid of it. But that's just again, it's all preference. It doesn't mean it's not good. I know a lot of guys that I know that really like it. I'm just trying to figure out why you're a tube screamer. Well, I think you have to turn the gain up on the tube screamer just a little bit to get volume out of it.
What I'll do is you gave me a couple ideas to experiment. What I'll do is I'll take the EP booster off and see if that does anything. But
it's true bypass. All you got to do is shut it off.
Yeah, that doesn't do it. So or maybe just work with the gain on the
I would
tube screamer. And it just as an experiment, maybe try the EP booster at the very front. Maybe see how that changes the sound.
Well, the EP booster in the front is just going to make it so it doesn't affect it. Like, in other words, if you have, like my, what's that pedal that I use? The Angry Charlie.
I love those.
Likes the guitar signal.
Mm.
So I put it first. What I noticed about it my last gig, which to my joy, pedals behind it has no problems with. So I can keep my compressor on, I can keep everything on and just hit one button and it still sounded great. I could actually pull the gain down a little bit because I have a compressor on as well. So I get really a nice sound. But if I put it behind where my other drives are and it gets the buffered signal first, it sounds like shit. It does not like it, and it has a big noise floor. I also found out that my the Paisley drive with the gain past 50% has a big noise floor if I put the Timmy behind it. But if I have the gain from 50% or below, then it sounds fantastic.
Yeah,
but I would.
So what's that? That's my problem with compressors. Like, I'll show you. I took it off my board. Oops.
Oh, hey, how do you like that compressor? I was thinking about picking one up just to check it out.
Well, my problem with it is raises a noise floor, right? But that could be the position that I have it on the board. It could be just dirty power because, most of the places I play.
Where did you have it in your signal?
Where do I have this? I have
Where did you have it?
Oh, where did I have this? This was right after my overdrives. Okay,
Before.
after all my gains, but
Before.
after.
You got to put it before.
Okay, but hang on. Wait, not done. I never used this with my gains. So my gains were always off.
Okay.
So I didn't use this in conjunction with the gain. I know what you're talking about. I didn't use it for that reason. This was my clean boost pedal. That's what I use this for.
Okay.
And the reason I like this over, the other compressors is that
it's got a blend.
It's got a blend, yeah, and it's got it's called Spectra, which is basically it compresses, but it doesn't change your EQ at all.
What were the three? What are the two things? Spectra and what's the other one?
It's Spectra, and then there's Tone Print. This is a TC pedal, so you can.
No, I know, but there's three of them, isn't it? Isn't it?
The bottom one is vintage. So the vintage is the,
like a Ross.
It'll darken your tone, right?
Yeah, it's like a Ross compressor. Usually the vintage they use the Ross clone.
Right. So that's why I like this compressor, because I don't like compressors because they darken tone, and this one doesn't.
Right, but does it have an EQ? I mean, a tone? Does it have a tone knob?
It's got sustain, level, attack, and blend.
Ah, no tone.
Right.
And so Spectra bypasses, it keeps your EQ level to what you have going in.
And that's why I like it. So yeah. And that's
nice.
That's why I like, because I like, was it the MXR comp? I tried a bunch of MXRs. They were
the Dynacomp's no good. I like the Wampler Ego compressor.
I use
and I have an Analog Man Mini Bicomp. Yeah. There's a Cali 76 that's a fantastic one, but it's a lot of money. Well, and Keeley makes one.
This thing is expensive, at least in Canada.
No, it's like $140 or something, isn't it? $99. How much is that thing?
Not in Canada, it ain't.
How much is it in Canada?
This is, I think, $260 or $270 here. Wow, I know you're Googling it right now. Go on.
I am. I want to see what it costs here. Yeah, $117 at Guitar Center. 95 at Pro Audio. Oh, that's an open box one for $95. 116 here.
All right.
What?
I look at my phone, and the first thing is I see a comment on a video that I did like 3 years ago where the guy's saying too much reverb. I just thought that was funny. It was a video I did on the TubeMeister.
Oh, okay.
All right, hang on. Let me just Lon McQuaid. I just remember it being really expensive.
Oh yeah, I remember it's TC, which are all.
That's $200. $200 Canadian, Dave.
Wow.
I think you see that. $194.99. You can't see that, but
no.
Yeah. It's in stock.
Yeah, that's crazy. Well, because no one's buying it up there with that price.
Yeah. Pete Hickson says it's around 200 in Australia. Yeah, the Australians get hit just as bad as we do.
Oh, bad. When I ran my store, there was so many guys from Australia that used to shop with me. When they came to LA, they would always bring a guitar back.
Quentin James says, does Dave get mad because the TS9 has 3 knobs and he has to fiddle with too many knobs?
Too many knobs? I don't get it.
That's it. Just a joke. Exotic SP compression pedal is awesome.
Yeah, all the exotic stuff's really good. I like Toshio a lot. I think he makes great stuff.
Dwight Bailey is talking about the Ego compressor. I've heard good things about that one at all.
Yeah, the Ego's good. I like it a lot. I can't say I love it, but I like it a lot.
Aaron Songs likes the TC Hypergravity. Great compressor for boost and sustain. Yeah. Too much reverb every day. Yeah. I hope Pooh is safe. This is so scary. What's going on with Pooh? Did I miss something in the chat? Holy shit. A tornado touchdown just a mile from Mark Taylor. He's safe but shook. You guys are getting nailed, eh? Brian Stewart, that's in the chat. He posted a picture on Facebook. Holy shit.
Where is he?
Ohio.
Oh yeah, Ohio got crushed.
5 million people, he was saying, out of power.
Really?
Yeah. But thank God he was okay.
Yeah.
Colonel, tornadoes are touching down everywhere. Wow. Ohio got plastered last night. Yeah, be safe, folks. Marsman's got a question. Guitar Hack, what about buffers? Where to use them and when?
I think first. Depends on what your pedal's like. I mean, if your pedal doesn't like you have to find out. It's kind of like, but for the most part, I like to put it as close to first as possible.
Yeah. Well, it's like I was saying earlier about having the ingredients, right? You buy all these ingredients, and individually they might be great, but they might not work well together. And the only way to sort of is you got to play around with them, play with the order, and then like everybody's got an opinion. This pedal should go before that one, and that one should go before this one. But you really got to do it yourself. And
absolutely, everything is trial by error, and to figure it out and see what it does. And I mean, obviously, if you have an idea of what each pedal does, you have an advantage going in. But you'll find out that if I hear this does this, but I'm going to do it anyway, and then you find out that's what it does, and it's not what you want.
Yeah,
you could have gotten around that. But for the most part, I mean, I have a ton of pedals. My pedal board. You've seen my pedal board. It's insane.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's got.
Well, you got two of them, right?
Well, they're two together that I use for one gig.
They're two separate and linked. Yeah.
Yeah. And one goes through the face of the amp and the other goes through the. And that's for my non-big amps. The big amps, they have a different drive board. It's really just a compressor and an overdrive, and that's it. Just to get like a third or fourth channel going if I needed it. But for the most part, I mean, there's a lot of pedals on there. But I dial in every sound that if I got to do a song, I'm dialing the sound in that's on the record. At least I'm trying to.
Yeah.
Trying to give people listening the experience of, hearing.
Well, that's why I use 3 drives, right? You know, for 3 different levels of gain. So, I got my AC/DC gain. I got my, I don't know, heavier, and then my super heavy, right? Yeah, and usually what I find, it's more turning stuff on and off for me. The only pedal that I'm fiddling with knobs usually is my delay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I want to go analog. I want to go slap back for some songs, and then sometimes I want a little bit more.
How many delays do you have?
Because I got a flashback delay, and those things are great.
Oh, yeah. But you're using how many delays on your board?
Just the one.
I have 3. Because I don't want to deal with what you're doing. I don't want to. I have the flashback for when I want a dotted eighth. I have an echelon for when I want my always on delay,
right.
And I have a more re-echo when I want the slapback.
Right. No, I'm
and
not,
that way. Yeah. I'm not bending and turning knobs. I'd be going bananas. I'm tap dancing up there. Look like fucking Ben Vereen. I'm like Gregory Hines doing the Ethiopian shim sham up there.
All right, well, we're going on to
this is my Angus sound. Listen how that sounds, just like Angus. This tone.
Ain't no mind of the Fender, people. Yeah, you're right. If you play it right, that's 90.
It doesn't matter. People, it doesn't matter. I mean, shit. Yeah, I mean, any of that stuff. It's like when if you could play the solo and it sounds decent, use a little overdrive, whatever you're gonna do, you don't have to sit there and try to match like what the guy, unless you love that guy's sound.
Right.
You know what I mean? How about this? All the guys who play guitars out there, what's your favorite sound that you wish you could emulate or you try to get? What's that sound?
Yeah, you know, and keep it like maybe a record, like a
record and a song.
Or a song.
You know, like be specific. Like,
yeah.
You know, because like if you like AC/DC sound, there's so many. You know, the Back in Black sound is surely different than the Powerage sound,
and
for sure.
And the Highway to Hell sound too.
Yeah, but I mean, Highway to Hell's a little closer. It's
closer,
a little bit,
but they're not.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing.
I'd have to think myself, what is the ultimate guitar sound for me? I'd have to say either driven or clean. I love Jimmy Page's guitar tone on Achilles' Last Stand.
Okay, later, Zach Thong. Take care. We're going to leave this as the closing question of the night. So,
yeah,
what's your favorite guitar sound?
ZZ Top. ZZ Top for sure. There's some great guitar tones. That's
yeah.
For the Love of God, Steve Vai. That was a nice, like a press sound, driven. Dwayne Allman slide guitar sounds fantastic. Quentin with pulling in with the Dawkins.
Wow.
Golden Country, REO Speedwagon Live. Man, there's some answers I would have never.
Yeah, I know.
Gary Richrath was great, except right before he died, he started looking like Charlotte Ray. Didn't he look like Mrs. Garrett out there playing guitar from The Facts of Life? Folks, this is my A material. If this isn't going over, we are in trouble.
Well, I mean, then they called Gene Simmons in the Asylum days, like dressing like Maude Adams or something.
Hey, you know, Foghat had a great sound. You know, the bass player for Foghat is the guy that plays the Russian president on the show 24. He was the bass player on the big album there. Yeah.
Holy shit.
Wow. Someone liked Vivian Campbell's tone on Rainbow in the Dark. I like the Holy Diver album a lot. I would have to... if you say what's the greatest distorted guitar sound of all time, for me, I would probably say Romeo Delight Van Halen for distorted guitar sound. And for clean guitar sound, Romeo Delight. No, just kidding.
I'm going to give you I don't know if have you heard of the band of Darkness?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They're like they're a rock band, but what is it like? It's like, what kind of rock do you call that? Glam.
Yeah, well, not glam, T-Rex glam, more like 80s, but they're
right. Well, they came out much later, right? But they were like continuing the glam, like
there's a guitar tone on not the record they have now, but the record before. I'm trying to think. I think the record's called Barbarian, or maybe that's the single off the record.
You know, it was a great guitar tone. Do you remember? There was two things. First of all, Rammstein, the guitar tone in Du Hast is one of my all-time favorite heavy guitar tones. And another one is, remember the band Space Hog?
Oh, they were like
they did the song
'90s.
Yeah, In the Meantime. That song by Space Hog.
Yeah, I did that song in a bar once.
Oh, it's a great, great song.
Yeah.
Yeah, Space Hog, not Road Hog, like Mr. Magoo would yell. Road Hog. Remember Mr. Magoo?
Mr. Magoo is a U.S. thing, and there was no Mr. Magoo here. Not that I remember seeing as a kid.
Criminal. Yeah, Boston had a great tone, a unique tone for sure. I don't know if I would chase it, but it's definitely.
Nobody asked me to try to cover a Boston tone with my stuff. I couldn't come near it. What was that thing he invented? The Rocktron or something? What the hell was that?
Yeah, but that was before that. I mean, basically, it's just a mid-tone. You need a drive. Full Tone came out with a pedal called the Secret Freak, which was the secret frequency. And all it is like a boosted mids. You put that with a chorus and a delay, and you really get Boston sound. It's nice.
Yeah, you get. You know what? And there was another sound they asked me to get that I couldn't. I wasn't getting anywhere near it. It was Alex Lifeson's Limelight sound, because there's like something deep in there, some kind of chorus thing below.
No, it's a heavy chorus. It's a heavy chorus, and to get a heavy chorus to sound good, especially,
I couldn't do it.
Well, because they're playing that in stereo. It's a stereo chorus. It's that big effect. He probably, I mean, and then it's also a heavy delay, if I'm remembering that sound.
Yeah, I couldn't. There was a couple of tones I couldn't get. Like I wasn't even close, and those were the two that stood that I remember anyway. There's probably that, but I couldn't get those. Not with what I had.
I mean, just think about like all the gear though from like all these years. You got guys like Tony Iommi. Like what a tone he had that was so uniquely his in the early 70s. And at the same time, around that time, you get Jimmy Page playing. You've got Ace Frehley coming out.
Yeah.
You've got, just so much great, but big contrast and stuff. I watched a great documentary about Tommy James and the Shondells. Mm-hmm. And it was just very interesting stuff. The guy made no money in this up to like the 70s. And since then, he's been making a fortune. Because I guess the label Roulette Records was owned by the Genovese family, and they just weren't paying him.
Right.
They like to take the money. They didn't want to pay out. But whatever it was, the story was great, and he's like, doing really well. But it's funny because he talks about he wanted to do a song like Boney Maroney. He wanted to make like a pop song like that. Mm-hmm. And he's looking out his apartment, and there's a thing that says Mutual of New York. MONY, it keeps flashing. Mm-hmm. And he's like, oh, Moni.
Yeah.
And he calls his songwriting partner out to the balcony and goes, look. And they're like, that's it. And then he says, good thing I didn't look to the right. The song would have been called The Taft Hotel.
Yeah, Moni. That always works in a bar.
I mean, he wrote great songs. Crimson and Clover, Crystal Blue Persuasion.
I don't know that one. Crimson and Clover.
Crystal Blue Persuasion. If you heard it, you would be like, oh my God, I'm 5 years old in the backseat of my folks' car.
Maybe, yeah.
Dragging the Line. Dragging the Line.
I'd have to hear it.
Come on.
Sorry, man.
How the hell do you not know Dragging the Line? People are still talking about... Guys, if you're going to refer to Foghat in the chat, please only refer to them as The Hat. I remember we Wikipedia something. We were trying to find out something when I was working at the store. We were trying to find something out about Foghat. Yeah. And in Wikipedia, it was like, and real fans of the band refer to the band as The Hat. So then, like, when people would come into the store from that point on, we'd always be like, what kind of tone you looking for? You want to sound like The Hat? They're like, what? The Hat. Fool for the City. We'd sit there and make them look like, doesn't everyone call them just The Hat?
The Hat, yeah.
It was hysterical.
Yeah. Where's the Hat section? It's behind the Rush.
Right.
And
God. Don't get me wrong. Again, I think Moving Pictures and Signals and Permanent Waves are phenomenal records. Phenomenal.
Brian Stewart, he lives in Canada. All they played was Gordon Lightfoot when Hack was in the back of his dad's car.
If you could read my mind, oh.
Don't get me started with Gordon. I love Gordon Lightfoot.
We played that one yesterday. We play If You Could Read My Mind. I love Sundown, Carefree Highway.
Love those songs.
Rainy Day, People Don't. A Rainy Day, People's great. The Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald's excellent.
Yeah, they're all good songs, man.
Oh, he was
I'm not
great.
saying that because I'm Canadian. They're just damn good songs.
How come you never mentioned the genius of Burton Cummings?
Oh, I love Burton Cummings, man.
Oh, it's phenomenal.
Yeah. Guess who?
Have you been around? Maybe I'll be there to take your hand.
For me, though, the man, if you want to go back to sort of that early, is Randy Bachman. He's my guy.
There's only one, in my opinion, there's only one Canadian performer ever.
Oh,
and that's Gino Vanelli. When I think about those... Oh, he's phenomenal.
Just before he turns into a werewolf.
Exactly. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say Gino Vanelli? It's Eugene Levy as Gino Vanelli.
That's better. Oh, shit.
Oh, no. But I'll tell you, there's a lot of... I used to like April Wine.
Oh,
till I found out they were Canadian.
Oh, but I'm bummed. There you go.
No, April Wine's outstanding. And what about Rick Emmett and Triumph?
Yeah.
You know, when I went back and I listened to Magic Power recently. Remember Magic Power by Triumph?
Yes.
It's really a gay song. I mean, I was like, God, I used to love this song when I was a kid.
You should check out a band called Goddo. Goddo. Local Toronto band. I don't know how big. I don't know if they.
Do they have any records?
Shit, yeah. Talk about just a straight ahead rock band. 3 guys, bass player sings. You'll love it. You will love it. If you want just straight ahead, simple, catchy hooks, good rock and roll, check out.
What's the worst Canadian band?
The worst?
The absolute worst. Where you're like, these guys are terrible.
I can tell you a lot of overrated ones.
Who's overrated?
I was, Tragically Hip. They had good records, and then
in the States, nobody cares about them.
I think for me, they were just too much. They played too much. It was overexposure with the Tragically Hip with me.
I don't even know if anyone in the States could name a tune.
Really? Yeah, they never,
They hit alternative radio in the 90s, but that was it.
Yeah, their first few records were really good.
What song did they do?
What song did they do? Most well-known song?
Yeah. I know one.
Well, Little Bone, the bar songs are, is it Mississippi Sinking or something? Or Little Bones? What do we do by the Tragically Hip? We do 50 Mission Cap.
Brian Stewart just said that Triumph's better than Rush. I'm not going to argue with it either way, but I think that's excellent. Triumph was a great, underrated band.
Coney Hatch.
I thought that the album after Allied Forces, Never Surrender, that album's phenomenal. Phenomenal. Thunder 7 is when they started to get a little... I could do without some Thunder 7. Some of the songs were great.
Yeah, like a lot of the bands in that time, they fell into that sort of cheesy 80s trap.
Yeah, but like Lay It on the Line by Triumph, to me, is up there with some of the greatest rock and roll songs.
I was going to say, I like that song a lot.
Oh, it's fantastic. It's great.
Oh, Hot 36 Solo says they were all over the radio up here in the Pacific Northwest. Okay, so there you go.
Who's that?
I think he's talking about the Tragically Hip. Hey, Johnny Beane is here. Hey, Johnny, how are you?
But what was their Ask Han Solo? What was their hit song? Everyone's saying the Tragically Hip.
They had a lot of hit songs. Bob Cajun is another one. The thing is, a lot of their songs are based on Canadian stuff, right?
Yeah, I don't know because I don't know one song. Let me just see if they have a hit here. Tragically
New
Hip.
Orleans is Sinking. That's the one I was thinking. New Orleans is Sinking. That's another big hit. But those are like
the first Bob Cajun. Oh, that's actually a song.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were talking about a guy. I was like,
No, no.
New Orleans is sinking.
New Orleans is
Oh,
sinking.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know any of these.
Yeah, well, New Orleans or Bob Cajun is a city in Ontario.
Oh, it says it right here. It's the most overrated. No, I'm kidding. Say that.
No, I think that's it's the same thing. There's a lot of bands.
Was Kick-Axe Canadian?
I believe so. Yes.
I like them.
Yeah.
Heavy Metal Shuffle.
Yeah, and then Helix.
What about Kiss? Was Kiss Canadian?
Yeah, they were from New
They're
Brunswick.
New Yorkers.
Blow at High Dough. There's another one. Yeah,
Who?
Blow at High Dough. That's another Tragically Hip song.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, what's the worst Canadian band? Is it the Tragically Hip?
No, God, no. The worst Canadian. I'm trying to think of who the hell the worst Canadian band would be. That was popular.
Right.
Oh man. I can't think of one right now. Any suggest? Somebody mentioned Nickelback because everybody likes to shit on Nickelback.
Oh my God, they're horrendous.
Worst Canadian band that made millions. Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Anvil. Yeah, maybe Anvil.
Oh, Anvil is horrendous.
Anvil. Yeah.
So I went to the premiere of their movie where the two guys in the band were there to interview.
Yeah.
To answer questions, and this was in Los Angeles. And watching the movie, I was just like, "Oh my God!" And like they're wondering why they didn't make it. They were horrendous.
Yeah.
And then they had guys like a Metallica. Oh, we always loved Anvil. What are you talking about? No one liked Anvil. Their parents didn't like them.
Huh.
What do you think of the band Ghost?
I didn't like their last album. I think there was maybe 2 good songs on it.
Meliora is the great record.
The record before that.
Yeah.
Square Hammer.
Well, Square Hammer's not on the record before that. That was the single that came out right after the record.
Yeah, okay. I don't know their order and
But from the pulpit to the pit, yeah, no, they were. I do enjoy them. I've seen them live. I've seen them live by themselves, and I've seen them open for Iron Maiden.
I like the band. The latest record. For me, it's starting to get a little bit poppy now. They did that dance song or whatever the hell it's called.
Well, they were a pop band first, right? I mean, that's kind of their thing.
I didn't know that. See, I don't know that much about Ghost. All I heard, the first song I heard that knocked me out was Cerise. And then
that's off Meliora. Yeah, they were a pop band, and they wrote like a heavy song, and they were like, that should be a song about Satan. Then they came up with the whole idea of writing every song about Satan. Oh, yeah.
Songs like Square Peg.
Square Hammer.
Or Square Hammer, sorry, Square Peg.
Square Peg was a TV show that you liked with Tracy Nelson and
oh my God. Oh God. I remember that show. Square
Tracy
Peg.
Nelson and what was her name? The girl that played Muffy.
Well, it was
what the hell's her name? She was in the movie Twister. She's been in a million movies. I'm blanking on her name. Someone.
Devo was on Square Pegs, Crowbar is saying.
Yes. During the when they had I think they did That's Good.
Horse face.
No, well, Sarah Jessica Parker was on this show, but what's the other girl's name that played Muffy? She's beautiful.
I don't remember.
Beautiful.
I checked out that cover.
She's in the movie Crossroads.
I don't know. Google
what the hell's her?
Oh, 36 solo. I checked out Ghost's cover of Here Comes.
Oh, Jamie Gertz. Before I even start typing it, it's Jamie Gertz. What did Han Solo say?
It says check out the Ghost cover of Here Comes the Sun. I did.
I have it. It's great.
Yeah, I checked it out. Yeah. No, I did Ghost. I just hope, I didn't know about the pop thing, but I hope they don't go back to that.
Right.
Because the twin guitar attack of those two guys, they know how to write riffs. They know how to compose music, man.
It's great.
And it's got that operatic quality, which is really cool.
Hey, do me a favor. Ask Han Solo, who did the Kissel Run in less than 15 parsecs? Oh, yeah, that was him. No Star Wars fans here.
Yeah. All right, folks. It's after 10 o'clock. I think we're gonna shut this down. I want to thank Dave for coming on and hanging out for a couple hours.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, no worries, man. We'll do this again. Every month or two, we'll get together. I got a couple announcements I want to make, though. Well, we still got 45 people in here. So this is the last week if you want to order Guitar Hack merch for cancer, this will be the last week. So if you haven't got your mugs, your t-shirts, or any of that stuff, please put your order in.
By the way, Cancer is the name of his bank.
That's just me.
It's funny. Come on.
So that's gonna be at the end of the week, and then I'm gonna get all that paid out, and then I will do the donation, and I'll show you guys. I think right now we've raised up to, I think we're about $550. In Canadian we've raised for cancer, so that's awesome. So that's gonna happen. What else? If for anybody that's interested in the Guitar Hack picks, I ordered them. They're coming in. I put a picture on my Instagram.
Oh, wait, hold. Do you mean pics, like pics,
Guitar
or
Hack.
photos?
No, picks for guitar.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know if you were selling 8x10 glossies.
No, nobody would buy that.
Signed.
Yeah, with a crayon.
That'd be excellent.
So anyways, I ordered them in. I got pictures of what they look like on my Instagram and on my Facebook. So half of them are already spoken for. I only ordered 30 of them. So if
wouldn't that be though hilarious if you told everyone, hey, listen, buy the Guitar Hack picks. They sent you money and you sent back an 8x10 signed gloss.
I want a refund. Yeah. So if you want to pick a guitar pick, Guitar Hack, send me an email below. And I already talked about the breakdown of the cost the other day. But if you're interested, I'll let you know that again. What else have I got going on? I got a show on Thursday. My solo show is going to be Thursday at 8 o'clock. So check that out. No, Brian, they're not naked hack picks. They are guitar picks. Thanks, Dave. Thanks for helping out there, buddy. You're all right, eh? Anyways.
Yeah, so, you laying out on like a big bear rug naked with an like a Playgirl centerfold from 74 with a big, Doc, grow the mustache back and paint it black.
Yeah, I'm going to recreate the Burt Reynolds pose from Cosmopolitan 1976.
With a Les Paul covering you just barely.
Les Paul over the unmentionables, yes. Oh, God. All right. So I could just see sales.
What the hell is this? I ordered picks. That's what I...
Oh, my God. All right. So anyways, I think that's it for my announcements. So, Dave, anything you wanted to mention?
The unmentionables? No, I mean, I'm just doing my channel, my usual shit. I think I'll do a Rush solo for you next time.
You did Limelight.
I did do Limelight.
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't do it well, but I did it. There's a couple of his are hard because his timing. It's not like you can unless you know the song really well, which I hadn't listened to it for 100 years. But I was listening the other day and I heard Closer to the Heart, and I'm like, oh, I'll do that solo. That sounds good, which means I kind of want to just learn what he was doing in one of the sections. And yes.
I was just going to know, I got a question about the picks. So Aaron Song is asking how thick are the picks. So Aaron, I've got 15. What I have, let's just tell you what I have left over. What I have left over are 0.81 mil, which is like from like a medium to heavy gauge. That's what I've got left. So all the 96, the other ones were 96, and those are all spoken for. So, but if you guys want picks, send me an email, guitarhack66@gmail.com. The email is below. I also should mention that I've got a PayPal now below for the picks if you want them, but don't just send me PayPal, email me so I know who to send them to. And if you want the picks, I need your address. So send me your address, and if I have your address, the PayPal, then I will send them. And right now I only ordered 30. Again, they're half gone. I got like 15 left. Once they're gone, if you want more, I'll order more and get more made. Brian Stewart, you want a hat hat? I know, buddy. I'm still waiting on those to become available to me. They're not yet through Teespring, but when they are, I will definitely get some hats done. Okay, folks. Have a great Tuesday evening. Thanks again to Dave. And we'll catch you Thursday, 8 o'clock. Cheers, everybody.